Hey guys, it's Anthony Bandiero here with Blue to Go Law Enforcement Training. And today, the question is can police officers record activities in a backyard from a neighboring property? Now, this one, I want to make sure we're on the same page here. So let's kind of go through it. So the answer is yes. Generally speaking, the answer is yes, as long as the officers are lawfully present. So this scenario came up with an officer who has permission from a neighbor to film and view her neighbor's backyard. And the allegation is that the neighboring property is engaged in narcotics activity late at night and so forth. And so from one of the rooms, the cops want to station themselves there and film and even use some Zoom, in the backyard and so forth. And the answer is that's going to be constitutional. Here's why. The people in the backyard conducting their illegal activities have no reasonable expectation of privacy in their activities, because a reasonable person would know that if they looked over to the left, and saw that their neighbor's right there and their window was facing them, they would know that that neighbor could see what they're doing. Therefore, it's not reasonable to believe that those illegal activities would be hidden from plain view. That's number one. Let's move on to the technology, right? Using video cameras and Zoom and so forth. The general rule is this: cops can use sensory enhancements on curtilage and on the home itself if the thing that's viewed is visible, even if barely, with the naked eye. Let me give you an example. If you're in the, inside the home, the cooperating neighbor, and you see something at night, and you can see that they're messing with something on the table, and you're not sure, you could lift up your binoculars and view what they are messing with using the magnification of the binoculars. That does not exceed a person's reasonable expectation of privacy, because a reasonable person knows that the world is full of binoculars, and that if a person could see them messing, if they're in plain view essentially in their backyard messing with this drugs, scales, guns, it's not reasonable for them to think that nobody would ever use binoculars, which is in broad use. Let's also talk about night vision goggles. Most courts have upheld cops using night vision equipment on homes and backyards because it essentially acts like a flashlight. That logic is under the Fourth Amendment. There is no expectation of privacy. Your state may be more restrictive. So if you have questions on that and you are going to use night vision goggles on a backyard, you may want to get your prosecutor involved and make sure that he or she is cool with it. But under the Fourth Amendment, it's fine. Now, I also want you to remember that if you have exigent circumstances, you can use night vision, thermal imaging. If you're chasing somebody down and you don't know where they went and you want to see if they're hiding in bushes, you can certainly break out thermal imaging and night vision goggles, no matter what your state would likely say about that, because that's exigency. That's going to bypass any kind of warrant requirement anyway. But speaking of the thermal imaging, even under the Fourth Amendment, you cannot use a thermal imager on a home without exigency or a warrant. So just throw that out there. Finally, using the equipment, the technology on windows inside the home. That's where you really got to be careful, because you may be violating the person's expectation of privacy. The general rule is the same. If you can see inside the window from a lawful vantage point, and you can see something in there that could be contraband, you can use binoculars to clarify what you see. But that better be clear in your warrant, right? You better be telling the court that you did not use any sensory enhancements to see something that was not otherwise visible with the naked eye. If that issue is debatable or not clear, you are lining yourself up for a suppression hearing, and if it doesn't get articulated correctly, you could lose. So that is what's going on here constitutionally. It's a great question. Obviously, it's going to be the answer is a little bit more complicated than your standard, straightforward question, because there's a lot of moving parts here. But that is what's going on. It sounds like the officers are doing good police work to get bad guys off the street. But that's the answer. Before I leave you, please consider attending a full day course of mine, Advanced Search and Seizure. I do traffic stops, narcotics, warrantless seizures, homes, and so forth, right? And so I do it over 3 days. You can attend one or all days. It's up to you, whatever your schedule can manage. And we're doing them online right now, and we'll be doing them live. But even when we go back to live classes, once we have the travel ban, lifted, we are still going to do live online classes because they are a great way to reach people that may not be able to come to us personally because of travel budgets and so forth. So consider that. Please go to bluetogold.com and check out our training schedule. And I hope to see you at one of my live classes. Until next time, stay safe.
When it comes to legal training, we're the gold standard. Visit bluetogold.com or call 888-579-7796 today to purchase the Search and Seizure Survival Guide, register for a class, or learn how to bring our search and seizure training to your agency.